All right. Let's get into our top 5. What's your first movie? Sorry.
What's my 5th movie?
What's your number 5?
Incredibles 2.
Incredibles 2.
Yep.
Why?
Because we waited for this movie. Like, there was so much investment in this movie that when it came out, it had to be good. Because if it wasn't good, we would have rioted. And
it makes me think of why isn't there another movie? Because that's the same exact reason you said of why
Let
that
me
movie
finish.
shouldn't be on your list.
No, let me finish. In regards to the movie you're talking about, Incredibles 2 didn't have as much build-up. Incredibles 2 had one movie, and then we waited. The plot,
Had a lot of memes.
the plot, the memes do not contribute to the plot.
Memes are important.
They are.
Look what they did for Get Out.
Do you know in the UK they like banned memes for a little while?
Really?
Yeah, there was like this whole big fucking thing about it on Reddit, or at least they tried to ban memes, and people like called the government like in swaths, just like blowing up the phones, and they didn't.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But no, Incredibles 2, I mean, the first movie, I think we can all agree, was great. And it wasn't like the stereotypical superhero movie.
Yeah.
It was like
Disney movie.
Yeah. You know, it was different in both aspects. And we loved it and we wanted more. And then they gave us more. What the fuck ever happened with the Underminer? Did they ever catch him at the end?
No, he got away.
I know he got away in the beginning. I just don't remember if they ever went back and found him. Damn.
No, he just went off and lived.
I'm so annoyed that he got away. Because that was their cliffhanger. And then they didn't do anything with it.
Everyone says that's a cliffhanger. To me personally, I never viewed it as a cliffhanger. I viewed it as just like it's showing that they are a superhero family now. I didn't think it was going to be like that was the main villain of the sequel or anything like that.
Okay, I can get that. But I feel like they kind of played off of it being like a unofficial cliffhanger per se. Because they like didn't need to talk, like they didn't need to address that at all then. But no, I love the movie. I loved finally getting to see what Jack can do. I'm pretty sure we were all hyped about that.
Yeah.
The voice acting was awesome. The animation was great.
It was really.
It was funny. Like, it was just an all around enjoyable movie.
I personally really love that movie. The reason it's not on my top 5 is I feel like the very end was just kind of eh.
There were some things that that I can say, like, and I think that's the case for most movies. There are some things I can say I didn't necessarily agree with, but they were just like random decisions that the characters made, not necessarily like writing wise. So I won't let that take away from it.
I'm putting it as like the ending fight scene.
Okay.
Was kind of lackluster for me.
With the sister, yeah. But
it was okay. I thought like the whole movie was really good, and then I just think that kind of was eh.
Yeah.
Like they were building up for something that was not crazy.
Right. It was either, I mean, I guess like, don't want to talk about my honorable mention.
No, we'll do honorable
aside from okay, because I was gonna tell you what it almost was, but I guess we'll come back to that.
We will, because it's time for my 5 spot.
What is it?
Super Troopers.
Who it is?
Super Troopers 2. It was an amazing movie.
Oh, was it?
It was hilarious. It's definitely the main reason I love it is because it's a type of comedy that is not very prominent nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of like that early 2000s comedy that, you know, American Pie, like Van Wilder, that type of comedy.
Right.
But in 2018, and I was real worried. It's a sequel to a movie that came out like 13 years ago. I did not know if they were going to kill it. They killed it. Plus, it was the first movie we talked about on this podcast.
Right.
So I always remember it.
Special place in your heart.
Yeah.
But was it like Your worst episode ever?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is a horrible episode. If you want to go listen to it, it's not the same format. We don't really review it.
And I'm not even in it.
It's more of like a fight. We argue about.
What did you guys bet on?
I had to say meow.
Did you win that bet?
No,
No?
I lost.
How'd the meow thing go?
I did it, and then we didn't put out that episode because that one was also really bad.
Okay.
Because the second one was like Super Troopers again,
Oh yeah. I remember you telling me about that.
and
You were just like arguing like the movie you talked about already versus another one.
yeah,
That's weird.
yeah, it was a bad episode, guys. It was a bad episode. Our 4 spot is the same.
It is. If you look up at the sky and you stare long enough, you might be able to tell when a star is born.
A star is born. This is definitely like I have had trouble placing this one on my list.
I just need to pause really quick. When you said A Star is Born like that, I heard Hercules. It's from the Hercules soundtrack, A Star is Born.
Was that an actual song?
Yeah, it's when he becomes famous. A star is born. I don't know the music. I don't know the words to it. But yeah, it's definitely our song at Hercules. Yeah, I don't remember if it's after he beats Hades or when he just. It's after he beat Hades because it's when he like becomes a god. Yeah.
No, I think
Also-
it's like the last episode.
Also a great song.
The only song I remember a couple songs.
You can remember I Can Go the Distance.
Yeah, I mean that's the best song in there. And then there's the Herc is on a roll. I don't remember like all the words to that song, but that song was on point.
The muses were fire, all right?
Yeah, they were.
I just love that soundtrack. Anyway, Star is
A
Born.
Star is Born.
We're not talking about Hercules.
Yet,
We're talking about Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga.
Gaga, ooh, ah, ah. Rah, rah.
All right, I don't know what the fuck is going over there. The reason I put this on my top 5 is because I think this is some of the best performances of the year. If Lady Gaga does not get an Oscar for this, they're rigged.
Are you going to throw hands, though?
I'll throw hands with anybody who wants some hands.
Even Clone Drake?
Even Clone Drake.
Me and you.
Against Clone
Drake and Clone Drake. Tag team match. 2019. Coming to somewhere near you.
I guess we all about to sue the best fight the internet has ever seen.
Oh, man.
Please don't send this to Drake. Drake be like hitting up random small people, and I do not want us to become famous for getting our ass beat by Drake.
I'm not going to get my
and
ass
Clone
beat.
Drake.
My mom would be so mad at me for this, but I don't plan on getting my ass beat.
I'm going to tell you this right now. I don't know what type of power clones have.
Well, you worry about Clone Drake. I'll worry about Drake.
Clone Drake will just kick me in the face, and I think I might just fall. And then you're fighting Drake and Clone Drake at the same time.
No, because it'll be like me. I'm not going to threaten to do that to Drake. That wouldn't be nice. I'm going to stop. But just know, at the end, it would be me versus Clone Drake because you and Drake would be out. I'm not going to say what I would do.
Drake, you hear that? I say we just, me, you, Clone Drake, Team Light Skin against Droid.
Oh, that's what's turned. Okay. I got some dark skin niggas.
You gonna call up Pusha T?
Nah.
I mean, he's probably the darkest nigga that will really wants beef with Drake.
Nah. I'm going to call the preacher. He going to come in there. Where my dogs at? Ah, ah.
He's in prison.
He's not in prison. He's a preacher.
He's in prison.
Fine,
right now.
Fine, I'll call Wesley. Fuck it. I'm gonna call Wesley and Mahershala again.
First of all, that would be an interesting fight. I think I would just sit back and watch. Like, I think we could be commentating, and it's just Wesley and Mahershala and Drake and Clone Drake.
Oh man, no, A Star is Born.
I think we gotta cut all that out.
It is what it is. It is. Just say, we need to just like have a long ass file, like a file dump, and just be like bloopers. That's what we need to start doing.
We do.
Because we like just cut them and they disappear forever.
Gone forever.
But Star is Born was just an all-around solid movie. Like, the acting was great, the music was great, the directing was great. It was the second highest we've rated, I think. After wait, no, it was the highest we rated. We rated it over Spider-Man.
Like a tie with Spider-Man,
yeah,
if not a little bit more.
right.
It's a great movie.
I mean, arguably, it could probably move up in our top 5.
I think,
but
I didn't put it as high, just because we're going based on our top 5, but also it's our top 5, what
Right.
we enjoyed the most.
Correct.
And I think technically this movie is the movie of the year. Like acting, cinematography, writings, all of that.
Right.
I think it was amazing, but I didn't enjoy it the most out of all of these movies.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. So I guess we can go to your number 3, since our number 4 was the same.
My number 3 is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Good pick.
It was just great. It was the Spider-Man that we've all been waiting for, but just without the Peter Parker we thought we were going to get.
I mean, I knew I was getting Miles Morales, so.
I mean, it's the Spider-Man movie in general. I thought we'd get an amazing, like, Peter Parker one before we got this. Miles Morales came out the gate swinging.
Wild.
He knocked out Spider-Man 3. He drop-kicked Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. He gave a couple love taps to Spider-Man 1 and 2. And they fell because they could sense the power.
I feel like when you say...
he's choking them out right now.
I feel like you say when he knocked out Spider-Man 3, it wasn't like just like a normal knockout. It was like when Tom was trying to park and Stink Meter jumped in the way, and then Stink Meter kicked Tom in the chest. It's like, you was talking all that good shit until you got kicked in your chest, nigga.
I
feel like it was that disrespectful.
I said he loved. He's spinning backhanded. Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 2, it was a strong fight. Real strong fight.
You got that good old Venom striking.
He hit him with a nice uppercut. Knocked him out.
K.O.
Homecoming. I still agree with the choking it out right now.
Okay.
It's the best Spider-Man movie.
Yes, it is.
All the voice acting, amazing. I mean, the art style alone was just crazy in this because there were so many different ones.
Right.
And all the actors, even Nicolas Cage, hands down worst movie of the year the last 5 years in a row. And this man came out and killed it as Spider-Man Noir.
Yeah.
When he's
because you didn't have to see his face.
And when he's in nerdy stuff, he does a good job. He did a great job in Kick-Ass. He's real dope in National Treasure. He's dope, but he's also trash.
Yeah.
It's the greatest debate, and one day we will have this on this episode if Nicolas Cage, or not on this episode, on this show,
podcast,
about if Nicolas Cage is a good actor or not.
I feel like everybody's got their bad days.
I mean, he has a lot of bad days.
I know.
But he also has a lot of good days. It's going to be a great debate.
I feel like he has...
If you've ever seen Community, it drove Abed crazy trying to figure it out.
I have not seen Community. My number 3, Creed 2.
Creed 2. Da-da-da. Da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's Rocky.
Well, they played that song in...
Nope. Creed 2's song is Icon. By Jaden Smith.
That is.
They should have started the movie. Whoa. Ah, man. I love Creed 2 was just a great movie. It was so enjoyable to me. I know that you say that you're really annoyed by the CG, but I haven't gone back and looked at it, I just don't really see
I
it.
think it did bug me a little bit. Looking back on it, the movie itself is so much better than... This is Michael B. Jordan's best performance for me. I don't think he's done anything better than this.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me happy to see him growing as an actor because he gets so much credit for being such a good actor, but he hasn't really shown much
Yeah.
to me. And I think this is where he really showed his chops.
Right.
Like, he got a lot of credit for Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't honestly think he did a great job as Killmonger.
I can see that. I mean,
I think that there's some better actors out there that could have done the job.
Mm-hmm.
I think Killmonger was just such a great character.
They needed somebody who is Chadwick Boseman's body type. Somebody who was about the same size, same weight. They couldn't. It had to be like a boxing match.
All right, Michael B. Jordan is probably a good pick. I just didn't like. I don't like the way he delivered the line.
Either way, we like the way he delivered the lines in Creed 2. We're not talking about Black Panther. I get what you're saying. I think everybody in Creed 2 did good. I love the story. I loved seeing the story from different perspectives, like from the Dragos, and how, like, they've always, like, especially with Ivan. Ivan's a dad, right? What was the son's name?
Victor.
Especially with Ivan, because he was an asshole. And arguably probably a villain in his movie. Probably the villain, like an actual villain. But Victor wasn't a villain.
You know why I remember his name is Victor, and I'll always remember their names?
Because of our little, like...
Because of our episode where you're like, Ivan and Victor?
Yeah.
Those don't sound... And that's what I always picture whenever I'm trying to think of their names.
But I like having an antagonist who is not just a villain. Like, and I think it goes back to what you've said when we talked about Aquaman, about characters being relatable. Like, I think he's a better character because he was relatable, whereas, like, Ivan was a better villain because he wasn't relatable, but not as good of a character as, like, and it's weird. Like, I'm not gonna say that Victor was a better character, but I liked Victor more than I liked Ivan.
I think Victor, you understood why he was doing it. And
Right.
Ivan, he was a better villain because he was menacing. He was scary.
Right.
And that, like you said with Aquaman, there was nobody in there that was like that. And then we get to see him, who was this big menacing presence in Creed 2, and see him broken.
Right.
He's nothing now. Like, he's not scary. Ain't nobody scared of Ivan Drago.
Except his son,
Except
which is
maybe-
like a very interesting
Well, because his
thing.
dad probably beat him.
Probably, but he can beat his dad's ass at this point. I mean,
I don't know.
he can beat his ass. It's a like psychological change thing, but that I think that added levels to the movie, and I really enjoyed it. And it felt like I've never been to a boxing match in real life, but watching that movie in the theaters felt like watching a boxing match. Like, the crowd that was there, we watched it, they were hyped up. It was just such an energetic experience. So I really thought that this is probably one of the most enjoyable movies we've seen. And that's why it's my number 3.
And that's why it's my number 2. You already know I love the Rocky movies.
Yeah.
I have made that known.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is better than Creed.
I can see that.
Like, this is one of the best sequels in a long time. Actually, you know what's crazy? If you look at our list, there's a lot of good sequels up there.
Yeah. Only one of them isn't a sequel on either one of our lists. I'm counting Spider-Man, so don't try to...
You're counting Spider-Man
as a sequel. I think we said that this is like our unofficial sequel, so we're counting it like the sequel to the original ones. Even though we don't know about the plot hole. No, because it's a remake. Remember, there's like a remake of a remake of a remake.
Yeah. I actually watched a video the other day that broke down like the differences between all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying this is like the best one.
I believe it, because if it wasn't, then we would know about the other ones.
I mean, they're all pretty old.
But if they were as good as this one, people are going to know about this movie.
Yeah, Bradley. And we didn't give credit. Bradley Cooper, this was his first time directing.
Yeah.
He directed, wrote the songs, wrote the script,
Oh,
starred
he
in
wrote
the
the
movie.
songs?
He
I
wrote
didn't know that.
He wrote the songs, performed the songs live at these concerts.
Man.
Like Bradley Cooper deserves just an Oscar for being that nigga in Hollywood.
Right. Definitely, I can agree with that.
And he was in Infinity War.
Mm-hmm.
He's been killing it this year. I think he is. I said it about what's her name the other day. Nope, it's Bradley Cooper.
Nah, Bradley Cooper's been in the game too long. You got to be young to be a Gambino.
Donald Glover is not.
He was young when he started.
They're like the same age.
Who?
Bradley Cooper and Donald Glover.
Yeah, but Bradley Cooper started later doing other things. Gambino started early doing other things.
True.
So did Haley Steinfeld. They're the Gambinos. Don't try to take this away from her.
I mean, Gambino did start earlier, but he didn't like start earlier. He's gonna need there needs to be a Gambino award later.
Maybe.
Like an award for just someone who has just embodied everything. They've taken all these different lanes and just killed it in every one.
Yeah, I can see that.
The Donald Glover Award.
And you know who could never get it? Machine Gun Kelly.
I don't know about that one.
Nope, he can never have it.
Why?
Because I just don't fuck with it. Literally, they're going to give the award at the bottom. It's going to be like, asterisk, excluding Machine Gun Kelly because Droid doesn't fuck with him.
I think give him a chance, man. Let him do his thing. He's trying to act. He's raps. I don't know what else he needs to do. And write a stand-up special.
Yes.
If he Machine Gun Kelly, write a stand-up special, and it better be funny. Then maybe you can win over Droid's heart.
Or I'd have to like meet him in real life, and we just like go to IHOP and talk it out.
Or come onto the podcast and we can talk it out. We can talk about it.
We can have the podcast at IHOP. I would have the podcast at IHOP if somebody was a celebrity wanted to. Hey, you want to go to IHOP? Yeah.
The IHOP is a lot. We're gonna have to drive 3 hours.
I would be willing.
All right.
So would you.
I would be if anyone, any celebrity out there, ever finds our podcast, just hit us up. Let us know. We'll come meet you at IHOP in Fargo.
Yep, 3 hours away. It's the closest IHOP because we're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Anyway, my number 2, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Fantastic Beast and Where to Find Them.
The Crimes of Grindelwald.
I liked it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I know you didn't enjoy it as much as I did. But I enjoyed it. Like I read all the Harry Potter books when I was younger. Seen all the movies. And you did not read all the books, did you?
I read all the books. I didn't finish any of them.
So you didn't read all the books?
I read all of them.
Nah, it doesn't count. No. No. My mom had to buy me The Order of the Phoenix 3 times because we moved and lost it, and I read it every time. Anyway, love the books when I was younger. Love the movies. And this, I think, played into like a lot. I think any Harry Potter movie now, for anyone who grew up being a Harry Potter fan, plays into like a large sense of nostalgia, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's something that it has an unfair advantage over other movies for. Like, actually, I can see that being the way for a couple of the things that we have, including the one that I didn't put on the list. But I like seeing the magical world and the way people operate in the world. I like there being, I think one of the funniest things to me in The Crimes of Grindelwald is like there will be like real wild shit happening in the middle of the street, and like nobody cares. Even though you're like a wizarding person, when there's like a fucking 20-foot magical lion running through the street and it doesn't faze you.
Yeah.
I need one magical black person to say something. You could be the stereotypical black person in this situation. I don't know. I really enjoyed that movie, and I would definitely go back to see it again. Not go back to see it again because I don't. Is it still in theaters?
I think so.
I would definitely
like
watch it.
days.
I think I would watch it. I definitely would watch it again.
I'd watch it.
I think there's a lot that normal, like, people who don't really know a lot about Harry Potter would miss, like characters like Nicholas Flamel. Like, people don't really like know who that is unless they're like really paying attention, and like seeing like certain magical creatures that you've never really seen but are like mentioned in the book sometimes. And these movies give you like new magical creatures, which is great because like it's expanding upon the world. And I'm like a huge fan of world building because it's one of those things where it's like what ifs, and they're like, oh, what if? Well, this is what if, you know. So I like that. I love the acting. I know you said you didn't really like the CG, but I thought it was great, especially like in the last scene, which I know is the one you hated the most.
The last scene
with the dragon deals, where like Grindelwald made like the fucking fired.
I didn't hate the CG in that as much as I hated the scene in general.
Nah, you specifically
The
said
scene
the
I
CG
hated
was
the
trash.
most, the CG scene I hated the most was when in the beginning with Grindelwald when he escapes.
I know you said that wasn't good because it was outside and they were dark, and you said they were trying to hide it.
I hated just that scene in general with the fire. I thought it was just a bad way to end the movie.
Why?
Why? Because I don't want to see them fight a big fire monster. I want to see them fight Grindelwald. And I get that they're setting it up for the next one.
See,
But
this is why I don't agree with that. The reason I don't agree with that is because up until this point, Grindelwald hasn't done anything to really make us worry about him. Like, he hasn't done anything to show us that he rivals Dumbledore. The point at which he kills like 20 plus Aurors and almost levels all of France is the point at which we're like, oh, this is a bad motherfucker. And I think that it was very effective in like making him the character that we needed to be worried about.
I can agree with that.
And I get that like he was a very effective villain as far as like him being able to manipulate people, because we talked about how like Voldemort was all about like brute force and bullshit. But like, not only do I think Grindelwald is a more persuasive villain, I think he's probably a more powerful wizard than Voldemort was by far.
I think so.
And I think that scene raised the stakes for what's to come.
I understand what you're saying. I still don't think it wasn't what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm.
I think they may have been able to do something better. I don't know what. But yeah, I didn't really like it. I get what you're saying, and I agree with that. That is kind of a way to show his power.
Yeah, so I just really enjoyed the movie.
Especially after he got dropped by Newt in the first one. Like, how you getting dropped by Newt? Like a nigga that like just finds animals.
That is a question. I don't really remember how that played out, though. I don't think it was like him simply dropped, because Grindelwald wasn't like trying to fight. I do remember he was trying to like leave, and then he got mad at Newt. I gotta go back and watch it now. There was a lot going on.
Yeah,
it was
there was a lot. Yeah, in that scene.
Yeah. I'm just saying, a man who can cast a spell, leave, and still kill 20 motherfuckers and almost wipe out all the friends while he's not even there is a bad motherfucker.
Well, it is pretty dope. My number 2 is Creed 2.
Mm-hmm.
I like Creed 2.
Right.
We already talked about it. The reason I didn't put that movie on my list is I think of the Harry Potters, it's honestly my least favorite.
Your least favorite series? Or your least favorite Harry Potter?
Of the Harry Potter franchise.
Okay.
And I know you say it's the Wizarding World, but I'm going to call it the Harry Potter franchise. I just feel like that's easier for me to say, and that's what I remember it as. I might go back and rethink it, but as of right now, that's the reason it wasn't on my list.
Okay.
I did enjoy certain parts of it, and I am looking forward to the third one, though. What's your number one?
Did you just skip your number one so we can do my number one first? Is that what you're doing?
All right, we'll do my number one first.
I'll do my number one first because we've already talked about it on your list.
Yeah.
My number one was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse because it was the most enjoyable movie I feel I've seen this year. This is the only movie where during the credits I literally was like, this movie is fucking amazing. I try to withhold. I think we both try to withhold our judgment until we really talk about it on the podcast, but this is one where I couldn't wait. Like, I had to tell Ace, this is that movie.
Like, literally, as soon as the movie was done, he's like, this is my favorite Spider-Man. I think this is the best Spider-Man that we've seen. And I said, let me think about it.
And then later on, he texted me. He's like, yeah, I was thinking about it. Yeah, I think you're right. And I haven't heard anybody else disagree with that statement in person. I've seen people on the internet, but people on the internet are weird sometimes. We're all weird. I guess I'm on the internet, too, so just call myself weird. Anyway, I just loved the movie. I loved Miles' story. I loved finally having a black Spider-Man. Afro-Latino Spider-Man. You gotta get it for the Latino people out there, you know. Y'all got a W that day, too.
We've already talked about this.
I know.
Actually, it's on the last episode.
Yeah, it really is.
We're claiming him.
It's great.
You guys can have Spider-Man 2099. He's got a dope suit, too.
Miguel? Is that
Yeah.
his name?
We'll take Miles.
The music was great. It was just an amazing movie. We were gonna go see it after this podcast, but it's getting too late now.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Ruining our dreams.
We love you too. God. What was your number one?
I feel like everybody already knows what my number one
I
is.
know. They know what your number one is.
Infinity War. It's probably the biggest movie ever since Harry Potter 8. Yeah, it's the biggest movie in a while. Everyone got their shine. Everyone got a scene that was important to the story, which is very hard to do, especially with all of the characters. Like, Avengers did an okay job with some of the characters, all the characters at that point, but
right.
They just added even more. Actually, I guess it really wasn't all the characters because there's some people that were not in this movie.
Yeah.
Like Ant-Man, Nick Fury, Hawkeye.
Drax.
Drax was in it.
No, he wasn't.
You didn't see him?
No.
And we all learned to hate Chris Pratt together.
He acted like a normal fucking human being.
No,
People who are hurting do irrational things.
Yeah, regular people. Is he a regular person?
Yes.
No, he's part
No,
God.
he's not anymore.
He's still part God.
No, he's not anymore. And he was raised as a human being.
Technically,
Nature or
he was
nurture?
not.
Guess what? His nature is that of a human being. He was also nurtured as a human being.
No, he
Human
wasn't.
being.
He was raised by a bunch of thieves
As a human being.
as a meal, as a snack.
Niggas need to leave Star-Lord alone.
No. Okay, leave him alone just because
I know more. I know
stuff
people.
on the internet is getting annoying.
It is, and I know
But-
people have done worse for less. And when I say worse, I'm saying if somebody killed your girl, you would be ready to fade on sight too. It don't matter what they got.
He knew he couldn't do anything. They were about ready to kill him. He ruined everything. You can still be mad at him for it.
Doctor Strange wasn't, because he knew.
Because it's the end game now.
Also, I don't give a fuck what they thought in the moment. They were thinking irrationally too.
Let's get off of this topic.
The reason
it's my number one movie because I think that it is the biggest movie. I've been waiting for 10 years for this, and to see it all come together so well, looks so great, that acted so amazingly, to not only live up to that hype, but to like go back later. I went back later. I just recently watched it again just to make sure I still felt the same way. It's still so good.
Yeah.
It still holds up, and it's great.
I would hope it still holds up. It hasn't been a full year.
I don't mean like holds up. I mean like the hype is gone now.
Right.
And it still felt great.
Right. The reason I didn't put Infinity War in my top 5 is because I think to take a movie that has had as much buildup as it has, is just, I feel like it's unfair. And I get that you can say, oh, you know, Fantastic Beasts was the same, but it wasn't, because it's playing off of it's a story that we know, but it's going in a different direction. Like, it's not the culmination of things that have led up to it. I just feel like so much investment was put into Infinity War plot wise through the other movies. And while it's a great movie in and of itself, I don't think it's fair to the other movies we've seen to include Infinity War. That's where I stand. That's how I feel about it. Great movie. Could have been my number 1, but I feel like on principle, can't do it.
You just can't put it even on the list. You couldn't have made it your number 5 and got rid of Fantastic Beasts.
I'm not getting rid of Fantastic
I
Beasts.
had to look at all those movies. I think you can probably get rid of Incredibles too.
I probably could, but I'm not gonna.
Like, I do think it is fair for that to be on there, because even though it does have a lot of other movies, in itself, it was really great.
I said that.
Like, Avengers, like you, so then why can't it be a top 5 movie?
Because it's my top 5.
But you're
to
saying
quote Dave Chappelle in the Making the Band skit, I want to do the things I like to do. Everybody else can have it in their top 5, but I'm different. I'm different.
No, because you said it was
Pull
one of
up
the best movies, and it
to
could
the
be
scene where my
number
cylinder's
1.
missing, except my car is trash.
All right, let's get. We're done. Those are our top 5s.
Yep.
Enjoy them. Go see them. Listen to our episodes. They're all
watch them
there.
with your families. Well, if you got
Listen to the
kids, don't
podcast
listen
with
to
our
the
family.
podcast with your families. It's uncensored. Unless
I
your
mean,
family's like old enough to hear. They're old enough to hear what the fuck they want to hear.
Yeah, it's 2018. They're probably watching.
It's 2019.
Oh my god.
Correction. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Hope you're enjoying yourselves. I hope you're living your best lives.
I do.
You're not going back and forth with none of these niggas.